Welcome, lovelies and lovettes, back to your Ant Colony Simulator. I know it's been a while since I made my last upload, but I am finally back. And where have I left off of? Stupid clouds. Okay, crabs are not here yet. Yeah, sorry I've been away for a while. I've been forgetting to make videos as well as my own schedule. Because school always makes it a bit difficult. Let's see. I'm not currently making anything. Upgrades. I upgrade my guardians or my warriors. So if you guys want to know any new things that are happening in my life, is that I currently, well, not currently, yeah, currently, recently, I've gotten into D&D a bit. I had my second session a little bit ago. Actually, last Tuesday, which is exactly last week. Because today is the next Tuesday, to which I'll be going into my third session. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have high hopes, because the first session, it went pretty well. Me and my group, we raided a mansion of heretics, or demon worshippers, whatever. I actually killed a guy, pretty fun. And we learned about the world and what we're supposed to be doing next. That one's pretty much really short because I don't remember it exactly, and a lot of it tends to be us just talking and learning about our actual world. But in the second session, a lot happened. So basically, we fought. We went to this place in Waterdeep. We went to the City of the Dead, and we went into this tomb, basically a crypt or whatever. And inside, we fought the two battles. The first battle went really well. There were like 3 skeletons and a ghoul, and they were against my party, which my party consisted of 6 players and an NPC. We had 2 rogues, 2 paladins. One was the NPC and the other one was me. A warlock and a wizard guy who I'm not sure what actual spellcaster type he was. I just know that he was a spellcaster. But I believe he was either wizard or sorcerer or something like that. And against the fight with 3 skeletons and the ghoul, it went really well. We only taken I believe 8 points of damage, which I just healed really quickly. The second battle went as well as boiled shit. Basically, our DM, he increased the battle difficulty to make it like more attuned to our amount of guys that we had. Because the normal fight was against like 3 cultists and 2 lunatic cultists, so what I thought he was gonna do was add in like, a few skeletons and some undead warriors. But no, he added in a straight up fucking Death Knight, which has like a challenge level of 17, while the cultists had like challenge level of, I think, 2. So, a bit of a difference. And one of our rogues, who I do not like, he's playing Chaotic Stupid, so that's, never fun, he left at that point, which was, it was thankful because I didn't really like him, but man, we could have used the backup. And during the second fight, our other rogue, who was a friend of mine, and the DM basically forgot to put him in the turn order, so he basically didn't get a go, besides like the first turn. Or first round, but that was the beginning of what went shit. Later on, once the DM announced that from which Death Knight was entering, it was like, wow, this is not going to go too good, because on my first turn, I was playing a Dragonborn Paladin, so I used Fire Breath, goes red, and just instantly roasted alive 2 of the cultists, and they were just dead. What happened? Oh, was it nighttime or something? Oh, this game's like darkened all of a sudden. Is there no food out here? God, what's happening? Okay, back to my story. But then I went to pretty much back up my friend because he was all alone, and I went over to cover him. And once the Death Knight came in, he instantly used like hold person on all of our players. So me, oh yeah, we also had the monk, which I forgot to mention. So it was me, the monk, a warlock, or my rogue friend, and the other magic guy. He was on all of us. My friend and the other magic guy both failed their saves, while us other 3 passed it. Oh, we got these. So blueberries, food, good. Oh, we also made some. And our NPC didn't have the effect on him. And the fight, we were like, oh crap, this is not gonna go well. The Death Knight was also on a skeleton horse, which, because the skeleton horse was undead, the Death Knight was able to pretty much buff him up. And he managed to do a crap ton of damage. At one point, the NPC, because a guy from another group, he was like the DM for the second group, because like 2 groups of how many players there are, was controlling him at the time. So our NPC takes like 20 something damage, and the guy controlling was like, that's nothing. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe this NPC is supposed to have like 100 health, or just a ton of health, to make it so that he's not supposed to die. And the Death Knight gets 3 attacks with his longsword, and his longsword has some ton of necrotic damage. And so when the second attack comes in, he takes 30 damage, and he's instantly dead. That's really upsetting to me, because the NPC was with us from the start, and I was sad. My friend was also sad, even though he wasn't at the first session. And it really sucks, because another thing, at the beginning of the fight, or when the Death Knight came out, the NPC told us basically that we have to leave, because this is a fight that we cannot win. So what I was thinking was we were basically going to have to leave the fight. Like, basically we have to run away, or basically we would end up dying. So like, oh, okay, what I would do is I would grab my friend, since he was paralyzed by the hold person, and then just book it out of there. But nope, because when our first player, or when one of the players went to leave, he ran into basically an invisible wall that was blocking our exit. So it's like, no, I guess we're just fucked. And then we ended up getting fucked. Because at the end of the fight, there was only 2 of us left standing, which was me and the warlock, and we were both in single-digit health. I was at 2 health, and our warlock was at 9. Because the Death Knight, he cast some ability that basically did 30 damage to like everyone. And if you pass a dexterity save, then you only take 15. I managed to pass it and live on 2 health, and the warlock passed it living on 9. And everyone else failed it, taking 30 damage and getting downed. And then the DM basically Mace said, instead of the Death Knight killing us like he should have, the Death Knight basically curses us, or he hasn't said that it was a curse, but he put some he basically branded some marking on our forehead. And I forgot how the mark looks. I'm gonna have to try to draw it from my memory. I believe it's kind of like a U shape towards like something like this. I don't know. And I'm definitely like sure that it is a curse of some sort. Because like what else would it be? Because the magic evil man just traps us in some ice stuff. And we're just stuck there. And it's like, what else would he do if we're just his prisoner? Since we have no other choice but to be stuck there. And it really sucked, but the thing that pissed me off the most from that day was definitely the other rogue guy whose name I don't know. But since he's playing chaotic stupid, like what else? He basically the first thing he did when we went down into the crypt area to sneak in there, he's like, "Oh, I rush in," or whatever the hell. And then it's like we managed to basically talk over him in a sense, and we had a plan to where we sneaked in. And then when we got into the main room, so the only thing we could see was that there was 3 skeletons and a blob of flesh. The blob of flesh was the ghoul just in hiding. The first thing he did was attack the ghoul, obviously, to alert it. And when we got into the second fight with the cultist, the first thing he said was like, "Hey, can I join you?" And, well, that didn't turn out well for him. Because that's when he leaves, or left, so it's like the DM was basically like, because there's an explosion, and the DM was saying that, oh, the explosion, basically has knocked his character out, he doesn't take any damage, or whatever the hell. Which, since the DM's not allowing PvP, it's kind of just really upsetting, and more or less shows the fact that our DM may or may not be an enabler. I mean, don't know if he's intending to, but that's just all it's going to be, as you can clearly tell it's annoying us. And he's just going to keep getting away with it, because we're not allowed to murder him. But there was a funny event, to where when we entered the second room, I tried to make a kind of like a deception roll to basically say, yeah, we're cultists too, but the skeletons attacked us thinking that we were like mercenaries or something, some adventurers. I had disadvantage and I failed it on both my rolls. And everyone just found it amusing though, which is the main point of it. And at the end of the fight, all there was left was, or of the bad guys, was this stupid Death Knight and his horse, as well as one lunatic cultist. Or cultist fanatic. Cult fanatic. And another thing that I'm doing in D&D was I'm fighting my friend, basically, because I was like, hey, what if we both made, like, level 20 characters and just had them fight to the death? I made a druid, and he made a barbarian. my character, I did one thing that I always love to do in every single game, which is to use summoning spells. And luckily for him, I could only, because of concentration, I could only have, so many spells at a time. But, basically, he made his character, really poorly. Because I did my character by point. So I could just, assign the points and stuff or whatever. And I min-maxed my character by having 3 of the stats at 15 and the other 3 at 8. And then I used the ability score improvements to bring up those 3 stats all the way up to 20. And I did tell him about that stuff, so that way he could do it too. But I guess he just didn't pay attention because I sent him a text about it. And he basically had his character really badly because I guess he rolled poorly. He was a barbarian with a strength modifier of -2. Needless to say, was a bit of an easy fight. All of his attacks had -2 to, to hit, basically. He did have his proficiency bonus, but it was, since level 26, but since he had -2, it's 4. Since my character was min-maxed using a finesse weapon, I was able to use dexterity and have +11 on my attacks. Yeah, because my plan was simply, I used the inability to summon a creature. I summoned in a mammoth, which had more health than his barbarian, and the two would basically fight it out. While for me, I would just use a whip because the whip had reach, and just damage him from range where he couldn't hit me. The game lasted around 3 rounds, because it's my character and his character, and also my mammoth. To where he just gave up and he kind of just tried making a sorcerer midway, halfway through while we were doing a battle. It just didn't really go that well. And so we're planning on a new game today, but instead this time it's a 3v3. I am bringing my druid character, obviously, a fighter, and a blood hunter. I know that blood hunter is from an older module, or not module, but version of D&D compared to the other, all the rest of them, so it's not really that valid, but it's in the thing that I have, so it's an official class, so I count it. But I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to surprise him with it, and when it completely fucks him over, it's going to be funny. I'll tell you about it tomorrow night. Well, because it's currently nighttime right now. And all the subclasses for them is, my druid has the circle of spores, so really good at damaging. And also has the, it's kind of like this thing that instead of turning into an animal, the wild shape that most druids, that normal druids can, I can use instead a different ability that, in my opinion, it's more advantageous because I get to use my scimitar, which I have proficiency in, as well as it does give me more health and a lot more damage as well, which is really good. And my fighter is the Battle Master, so the maneuvers will be really good, like disarming things like that, just taking away their weapons and using them against them. And also other maneuvers like Riptos, I believe it's pronounced, a sweeping attack, and a number of others. And my Blood Hunter is the Order of Lycan, which is were creatures, being a werebear. That doesn't really help, it's just what I plan on being. Which, you're gonna, oh fuck you. It's really good in my opinion. I know that he's bringing a druid after seeing what I did with my druid. And I'm not sure about the subclass. As I say, I will tell you what I know tomorrow night. Oh, I have a lot of food I could upgrade. And upgrade. Minus. Plus. And I don't know what he's planning to do. I believe he's planning on doing something similar to what I did. And just using summon spells to try to harass me, but I'm gonna out-harass him. And I assume he's going with a warlock and a barbarian as his other classes. His barbarian is going to be of the berserker class, because that's what his first barbarian was. The thing is, I don't think that the barbarian was the berserker class was good for him, because the only thing he really used it for was frenzy, which it allows him to gain an extra attack, but take 1 exhaustion level. The thing is, if he used his ability like 6 times, then he would be at exhaustion 6 and instantly die. So in our first fight, even if he did win me, if he used his exhaustion ability 6 times, then it would be a tie, because he would die the second he comes out of his rage. But he's probably going to be going with that again. And his warlock, I don't know what he's going to be going with. I'm assuming it's going to be draconic, or am I'm thinking sorcerer probably. Yeah, he's going to be going like a sorcerer, and then going with the draconic ancestry, I presume. And for the druid, I do not know what subclass he's going to be going with. But I will tell you guys when I find out, and I will tell you how easily I win the battle on a scale of like 1 to 10, because I'm not going to lose. Most likely. The first battle was like a literal walk in the park, as he couldn't get a single hit off. Like, when you're planning to play as a melee character, why would you have a minus in your strength category? But yeah, I mean, a lot of times, or mostly, his characters are just bad because he doesn't take in like all the information that would help him the most. Because like, his stats were pretty awful all around, so it's like, why don't you just reroll all your stats for your character? Or use the ability score modifiers that are in the thing for the sheet. Or, yeah, ability score increase things to upgrade your character, because I sent him a picture of the part of the rules or character class that show them, or that tell him what they do and upgrading and at what levels. but he ended up just not paying attention, basically. So I was assuming that the fight would be pretty easy. Like, with me just using all my spells to just summon in creatures. And then finishing him off in melee if necessary. While the creatures would damage him, basically, I would hit him with my whip from a distance to do a bunch of damage. And it was a good strategy in my mind and worked effectively. As for him, he would have to either move towards me, but the mammoth would be able to use his attack of opportunity to attack him, or he would have to use his disengage action to attack, or to leave the mammoth not get attacked, which, if he did that, then I would use my disengage action to run away from him and have my mammoth attack him while we run in circles around it. But, yeah. Because I am curious of what he brings. And it is true. I'm a wee bit nervous, especially if he, depending on what he brings and if he knows how to play them rightly. But I feel like both me and his lack of reading every single rule specifically for making this level 20 characters, or skipping straight to level 20 after knowing like very few stuff about the game, is it'll change up some stuff about how the game or how the battle actually goes. Cause like I made sure to give my druid like pretty much every single summoning ability there was, and now in our second battle we also used gold and buying items. In the first one we just like went off what they started with on their character sheet, but now in this one we're going off of just buying stuff. And you guys can probably guess that I bought a bunch of stuff to summon and stuff. Like I brought the genie ring, a Freedy in a bottle. I brought the Horn of Valhalla. I brought it at brass quality. The stone of it's the bowl of water elemental stuff or controlling, and the brazier of fire elemental controlling, something like that, and as well as a bunch of armor and other gear. I feel like maybe I should have bought the Horn of Valhalla at iron quality, because that way it would just give me a crap ton of berserkers and distractions that would basically be everywhere. And while they wouldn't do the most damage, they would work as like a good front line, but it's just a ton of things we would have to keep track of. Because me and him, we do our battle at lunch during school. We may end up doing it at my house or his house, depending on if it just starts taking too long. And yeah, that's basically how it tends on going. What's that? It's tomorrow. Oh, it's just this thing. I felt something like poking my arm. I was like, what the hell's that? Alright, yeah, we have hit the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to be ending it here. I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll be telling you how easily it was to whoop my friend's butt in our battle together. See you all later. Goodbye.